in bravado. I can't hold a frown too long. I can't stay down too long. Look, running from pain, running from strain, running from things, running from schemes. I can't hold a frown too long. I can't stay down too long. Look, running from pain, running from strain, running from things, running from schemes. Couple things I know, couple things I show, couple things I don't. I can tell you my problems, I can tell you my sins, I can tell you my problems. I'm uncomfortable in my skin, I'm uncomfortable with my ends, I'm uncomfortable with my friends, I'm uncomfortable with my drinking, I'm uncomfortable with my thinking.
What's good, Osiris here, stuck in the middle. Going to be starting shortly. Getting in on Ye, very deep stuff with Ye. I think it's worth having a further discussion on where Ye is and our response to him. What's good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. That's a random song I got from Epidemic Sound, I believe it's called, the website where a lot of people get their stock audio. One of the dopest songs I've heard from there. What's good? I got Ye was on my mind today, man, because he responded to Nori. Just a little bit of background. Ye went on this podcast called The Drink Champs. It's a great podcast. It's like a Joe Rogan. Except Joe Rogan drinks too, but it's more, the drinking's more of a part of the podcast. They got bottles all over the place. And they just shoot the breeze. I mean, that's one of the most beautiful things about long form podcasts is that you just talk and there's no, it's just like you just on the couch with your boys type of thing. Ye went on the show, got pushed back. They pulled the video from it, and Nori, the host of this podcast, apologized. Nori and Ye are friends. They're hip-hop guys, knew each other. So that's the background. What you're seeing on the screen right now is middlemaga.com. I did a blog. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to use the blog now as my notes for the video. So if you want the links or anything, just go to middlemaga.com. And if you go to the blog section, I have a new article called My Problem with Ye. And hopefully this works. If I click on it, I will get some of the outlines for my notes for this video and see if this works as my kind of template. So no good deed goes unpunished, huh? Kanye West donated $2 million for college tuition for George Floyd's daughter. This was in June of 2020. The donation included funds for legal fees for Ahmaud Arbery and Taylor's, Breonna Taylor's family as well, along with Black-owned, in quotes there. It's confusing because I don't believe in that identitarian type of point of view. I have come out and said I don't identify as black because I don't know what you all mean when you say the word black. So I don't identify as black. I understand the color of my skin. I understand facts. I'm not against biology. But when they use the word black, they're not talking about ideology because my skin's not black. It's brown, number one. But this is how they view it, along with black-owned businesses and crises in his native Chicago and other cities. Let me start off. I don't want to bury the lead. This is what got me pumped into it. I'm doing a fast forward to where I put it at the end. Here's Ye's response. And these are difficult conversations because these conversations are difficult, period. No matter, just if you're having it in an authentic manner with authentic people in an authentic environment, which barely exists anymore unless you literally bring people over to your crib that you know and trust. Even then, as Ye talks about, he couldn't trust a lot of people who were in his circle. So those discussions are hard, even in person, to have. Then on top of that, you've got this political warfare, the civil informational warfare, so they can twist anything you say into whatever else. Then on top of that, you have censorship. So it's actually hurting us. If you want to know why we're in such a bad place, it's because of that environment. This is not an environment to have an adult conversation with all that going on. But that is life. Life is not fair. And I'm not going to shy away from it. Here's Ye. I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I apologize for your George Floyd comments. How do you feel about that?
I feel like...
So he started off the question talking about Nori, the host of this podcast, who just put him on the platform. Nori didn't agree with anything he said, really. He just kind of had him on the platform. In fact, he actually challenged Ye a little bit. But now Nori's getting attacked. He's worried about getting sued. So he backed out, pulled it down, and somebody caught Ye in the street. Like, I don't know who this is. I don't know how you catch Ye in the street. He looked like he was in the street. But he caught Ye in the street with the cell phone and said, "What do you think about your boy Nori taking down the video that you had?" To my knowledge, Ye had his own recording team there. So I don't know what happened with that, but if Ye's going to release it or what. But this is what he's responding to.
I apologize for your George Floyd comments. How do you feel about that?
I feel like Black Lives Matter is like a warm water, it's a hot shower, and White Lives Matter is a closed shower. The funny thing about woke culture is like, woke culture is not really woke like that. A lot of times people, they would rather just exist inside of the pain of a lie than deal with the harsh realities of the truth for us to look further. Look at like JFK.
Hopefully this isn't too annoying, but I do want to address this as he said it. He said woke isn't woke. That's a very important distinction to make. Because actually, I appreciate Nina Turner asking on Twitter. I don't think it was a genuine ask, but she said, "Conservatives, define woke to me." And in the thread, I defined woke. I defined woke to her as everything that she does that, in my opinion, is fake and phony, that she does to make sure that she doesn't get canceled and maintains her access to the establishment. So we go down in the thread and people are like, "What's the establishment?" It's a good discussion. And we got to the point where I said, and somebody said to me, "You don't think Joe Biden is woke, do you?" And it was a great question because I was like, no, he's not woke. In the term woke actually came, to my knowledge, from hip hop. And it actually meant you were actually woke. Like you actually woke up from the Matrix. That's the initial meaning of the term woke. Now it's got changed, which I don't have a problem with because I use it in this derogatory manner too. Now it actually means the opposite. It means like you're woke, but you're really controlled by the Borg queen or you're in the Matrix. So that's why Ye's like, well, woke doesn't really mean woke because he's a hip hop guy and woke's been a term being used since in the 90s. It means you woke up to what's really going on.
Culture is not really woke like that. A lot of times people, they would rather just exist inside of the pain of a lie than deal with the harsh realities of the truth for us to look further. Look at like JFK, how many documentaries there are on what happened there. Like as a people, we are a sophisticated people that have to look in and be willing to challenge things, not just take what the media has fed us. The interview we had was amazing, and the exact people who sent people in the streets for Black Lives Matter were able to derail the interview and a lot of the ideas just based off the main comment. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by these people honking over here.
That's a great point. Yes, I agree I don't have proof that would be a conspiracy theory, but in my opinion, the same type of people who promoted the grift, well, I don't even like that term anymore, the corruption, the money laundering, allegedly, of Black Lives Matter Global Network, the national, not everybody in it, just the national organization, are the same type of people who are going after Kanye right now.
So with Nori is my brother. He's under a lot of pressure. If you look at the first thing it says, Nori does an interview with Rosenberg. But what's the exact thing I was saying? I said the Jewish media.
So Ye's going to walk into a pitfall here. Before, I do respect Ye talking about his boy. I don't know how close they are, but it seemed like they were fairly close. His boy, Nori, he respected that. So Nori had to kind of backpedal from Ye and the interview, and Ye didn't hold that against him. I respect that because he's like, Nori's under pressure, and he almost has respect for if he's not ready to kind of put himself out to where I am, I respect that he's not ready. Because Ye could have went after him for being weak, a coward, or whatever, but I liked what he did there. Now here's the pitfall. This is the issue I have with Ye here.
But what's the exact thing I was saying? I said the Jewish media controls so many things. It's not all the Jewish people, but they're specifically.
Okay, so bro, if it's not all the Jewish people, then why are you even labeling it the Jewish people? It's the same ideology as people that come up with this black community. What black community are you talking about? And he's saying the Jewish media. What Jewish media are you talking about? What does Judaism have to do with anything? You're not articulating. Why are you labeling it that way? So the community, there is a community that exists, but it has nothing to do with black people, because I wouldn't be let into that community. And obviously you would say my skin color is black. So that's the problem I have with Ye. He's locked into that, and I'm going to go a little bit more in depth of why I think that is. But that's the problem. So he says a lot of good stuff on there that I agree with. Then he throws that in there, and I'm like, if you're going to say that, like Jewish media, you got to give me, like, why? What does that have to do? What does Judaism have to do with anything you're talking about? I've never heard him tie that in. And that's the problem I have with him. And then he lets that little drop of, in my opinion, it's a failure to articulate your point. It kind of taints, the whole conversation.
Jewish people in media that are in power that try to have, they bought the black voice, but they haven't been able to buy my voice. So instead they blackball me, they threaten people to not interview me, they threaten people to get away from me, they close down my stadiums. Love you too, family. Love you too. Yeah. You said thinking, right? Appreciate you. Yeah, they've done all this stuff for years, messing with me, just like.
I will say Ye is a populist, just like Alex Jones is. Doesn't matter. You can be, is Elon Musk? I don't know if I would label him as a populist, but you can be a billionaire and be and have belief that common people, power should be with common people. I will err on the side of common people having power, and I believe Ye believes that. And you kind of see it in his interaction there. To me, that comes across as authentic.
Poking at me, like calling me out my name. My name is Ye. Anytime they say Kanye West, I change my name. It's like Cassius Clay to Ali. You respect me as a man, as an American, that my name is Ye, that I have the right to choose what my name is. So when media does that, it's already disrespect. I love rappers.
Keep in mind, when he talks about Ye versus Kanye, he's not really saying like the common person like myself, who I'm so used to calling him Kanye. I call him Kanye, but I do call him Ye pretty much. And really, before he even changed his name, a lot of people called him Ye anyway. But he's really talking about the media. The media is very meticulous. They're thought out. It's premeditated. So what he's saying is when the media calls him Kanye West, it's being disrespectful, and I agree completely.
Does that? It's already disrespect. I love rappers. Rappers are artists. But when media calls me a rapper, specifically to not bring up the fact that I'm worth $11 billion, that I'm the richest black man of all time, that I'm a billionaire, that I'm a tycoon, that I'm a visionary. People
think he's a narcissist for saying that stuff. All that stuff is true. He may be a narcissist, but his point is well taken. They call him demented, bipolar. I have criticized him as well, but I criticized him more with the Kim stuff. I didn't criticize him in a way to discredit everything he's ever done. He's talking about people who use this stuff to criticize him. He's just a rapper. No, he's more than a rapper. He's an entrepreneur, one of the greatest creative minds that's ever lived. He's flawed. I believe in the balance of life and nature. Miles Davis, Jimi Hendrix, John Coltrane, name them. Cobain, name them. They're all brilliant in their own rights. Einstein, Mozart is a great example. brilliant, creative, just their minds don't work like yours. You will never understand his mind. And they at times are flawed. And I think that the balance of life, this is just my opinion, when you have a strength that's that high, you also have to have a fault. Elon Musk, you have to have a fault that balances out. So you are watching a brilliant, in his own realm, creative, not like a mathematician or, he has his own brilliance, and you're seeing the faults come out as well. The faults have to be as equal to the intelligence, the brilliance, in my opinion.
That I'm a tycoon, that I'm a visionary. And if I say those three things, then they'll say I'm a narcissist, right? But they push you down so much that you got to fight just to say who you are. What I got from the documentary, from the Candace Owens documentary, was I felt like it was a setup. I felt that in the documentary, if you look at it, he told his roommates they want a tall guy like me. They want a tall guy like me. Well, who is they? I'm gonna pose it as a question, as opposed to, giving you some kind of theory that
I have not fleshed that theory out. I have no comment on that theory. I don't believe it. I don't know what it is. I saw the documentary. I don't even remember that part, but maybe I missed it, because a lot of the stuff in the documentary I was already aware of, and I was doing it while washing dishes. So I might have to watch it again. I think I missed that part. Actually, I'm going to hit up Carlos. We might do a video on the Candace Owens. If you don't know, he's talking about the Candace Owens documentary. It's available on Daily Wire for Daily Wire Plus members. It's the greatest lie ever sold. It is the definitive summary of what happened in the summer of love, Black Lives Matter, to me. And that's what he's talking about. So I don't care. He should have the right to bring out whatever theory he has. He's not really saying anything definitive here. He's like, I think it sounded like, we have to have the ability to flesh these things out and talk. And anyone who tries to stop it from happening, I have a problem with you, whether it's YouTube, whether it's politicians, this is free speech. I don't have to agree. I'm listening to him. I'll pick out what I can from it. If you don't want to listen to it, you are a grown ass man or woman. Turn it off. It ain't for you. Let adults have a conversation. Let adults dig into whatever we want to dig into. If you don't want it, there are many topics that I don't go into because I don't know. I don't care. Can't get into every topic in the world. I'm tired of this censorship stuff. If you don't want to listen to it, go on somewhere.
I can't pinpoint. And this idea, these martyrs that we have, it's 14 kids that's dying in Chicago every single day. And they have this Jewish media, black media, trauma culture, trauma economy, the stuff that Charlemagne the God works for, the stuff that Rosenberg works for, the stuff that academics, the guys that academics, you got to understand, all these people that y'all listening to out here, I'm gonna tell y'all, they getting their checks cut, and y'all, I need y'all to really respect what I'm doing, the stuff that I'm doing and I'm saying online, and love the fact, look, I got money, I got my songs, I could go off and just go to, Hawaii and live a nice life. That means that God has called me to sacrifice all of that.
This is true. Tell me where the lie is. He's got way more to lose than to gain from what he's doing here. Now, I don't know if he has mental issues or not right now with what he's doing here, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse to ignore the content of what he's saying. What he's saying is right. He has more to lose than to gain. Obviously, that's been proven. What does he have to gain from this? How many of you would be like me? If you had his money, I would be in Hawaii looking at some of the bluest water you've ever seen on one of those clear boats where you can see the fish underneath, and I'll be waiting for the Cybertruck to come out. Then I'd be number one. I'd pay Elon an extra $1 I said, Elon, ship me the first Cybertruck that comes off the line. And I wouldn't be potentially, now I am doing YouTube, so I probably would still be doing that kind of stuff. But you know what I mean? It would be easy to take that money that he's got, keep the royalties coming in. He owns all these different businesses. I'll just come up with the new Yeezys. I don't care about talking about it. Why do I need to talk about this stuff and put it on at risk? Canceling my bank account and moving me off of this. And then who knows, FBI coming through next and IRS coming through next and CIA or whoever else coming through and got beef with Hillary Clinton. Man, you on a death wish doing that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter how much money you have. They'll say the cameras weren't working in the crib. Oops, here's the headline. Just like Elon. Elon even said, like, hey, he said, paraphrasing, I love life, y'all. If I'm gone, it's been real. More to lose than to gain.
In order to bring the truth. That's what I'm saying. They don't cut my check. You listen to people that's getting their check cut by Jewish media. George Soros, come and meet with me directly.
See, he's got, yeah. I appreciate the courage, but I see, what does the Jewish stuff have? You're not tying it in. So now you hurt the cause, yay, when you want to criticize. And that's why I have talked about Soros, but I'm like, man, I can't even talk about Soros and really it's because of stuff like yay. Yay, what does that have to do with anything? I know other people dig into that and go into, that's just not, I don't see the connection. It's not for me. You're hurting the content of what Soros is doing. Now, don't even feel good talking about Soros because look at this. What you're tying it into stuff that doesn't matter. And you're not even tying it in. So now you bring up Soros and now they discredit you again as you're this whatever, ism, whatever.
I told you, you ain't gonna send none of these people that you usually send. Charlemagne, we know all the names. Nori is a good guy. Like he said, he called me this morning, he said, maybe politics is a little bit too much for me. Everybody back up off of Nori. This is like, he was giving a platform, right?
Just like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan never really wanted to get into politics. If you look at his way back stuff, that's when they clipped the N-bombs from. A lot of them were from back. He's just talking. He's like, he didn't even really want to get into politics. It's just him and his boys talking.
Which no one does. There's no free thought anymore. I give you one last bar before I get on this flight. And in order for us to evolve, we have to walk forward. The left leg moving forward is the idea. The right leg moving forward is the actualization. I like the word actualization better than the execution. We need the idea, we need to be realized. We need the idea, we need to be realized. Right now, the thought police have us crawling. We have stopped evolving. We have to fight for free thought.
Great way to end it. Anyone know how that person caught Ye on the street? I don't know if it was a deep fake or what, but it doesn't even matter. You got these deep fakes, you got bots. Maybe that wasn't, who knows? I can't confirm independently. The content is the content. And if I find out it wasn't really Ye, we'll clarify that. But the content is still the content. You don't have to agree with everything to have a good discussion. So let's go back to this. In 2020, Ye donated money, as I started the live talking about, to George Floyd's daughter. And then the common saying is, no good deed goes unpunished. George Floyd's daughter was harmed. Family to sue Kanye West for $250 million. For what? He didn't even talk about George Floyd's daughter. You see what's happening with the Alex Jones stuff. The FBI was in on the Alex Jones trial and they got awarded. Well, an agent got awarded, and to my knowledge, Alex Jones, I watched the trial, not every second of it, but I saw his whole testimony. He didn't tie anything into Alex Jones or knowing about what Alex Jones was saying, and Alex Jones never said his name. He got awarded money in the lawsuit. What is she suing for? For what? He didn't even talk about her. For all we know, he still supports her. He gave her money. Did he threaten to take the money back? That wouldn't even be worth a lawsuit, but did he threaten to take the money back? Did he say anything negative about her? And then not only that, Drink Champs, Nori didn't do anything wrong at all. So if I had an interview, like I just had friend of show, great people, Jen and Peter on a little while back. We don't agree on everything. And I'm not having them on to, maybe we could have on to debate, certain topics because I trust them. Like we can have an authentic discussion, not a debate, but a discussion. But for me, it was more like I like to bring them on and like, this is where we can agree. I love having them on. But say I bring somebody on and they say stuff that, I clearly don't agree with. I might not address it in the interview because it's not really what my goal is. The goal is to kind of give them a platform to say what they need to say. I might question it a little bit. If you kind of promote it as a debate, then you can have more of a fleshed out discussion, or if I'm in the mood to do that, or, you don't have to. And Nori didn't really do that. He just had Kanye on and gave him a platform to speak. Nori didn't say anything. He didn't co-sign anything. So why does he have to take down the video? Why is there pressure for him to take down the video? He doesn't have to take it down, but why is there the weight of the world? He released all these different, I think they're from Instagram lives, where he's like, you could see him. I was like, damn, he's got some pressure on him. He just started the show just to have some drinks and have some fun and talk. He didn't co-sign anything. It's crazy. So I would say, if you want the video taken down, I'm not taking it down. Kick rocks. I don't know who funds his Drink Champs. But see, what's the point of all the money if you can't even control what's the point of, and Nori's pretty well off to my knowledge, what's the point of having all that if you can't do what you need to do? You didn't do anything wrong. Why are you taking down the video? I don't care. Sue me. I didn't do anything wrong. If you don't want to watch the video, don't watch the video. We've got a culture now where we don't even have adults anymore. Who's the adult in the room? I watched a segment from Tucker, I think it was a powerful segment. And I just want to show, because people were looking at what happened here as Kanye being anti this, anti that, ism this, whatever, all that kind of stuff. And I look at it and I'm like, why don't the rules apply both ways? That's the concern I have. So I'm going to play a clip here. And I have no problem with them. I don't agree with them, but I have no problem with them saying how they feel. And let's flesh it out and let's talk about it. May the best idea win.
Literally what conservative white folks do when they don't get their way. They turn violent.
White people deputizing themselves in some position of authority to have jurisdiction over their life when they need to mind their blanking business.
I don't think it's our responsibility to be tasked with destroying and dismantling the racial oppression that's against us. That's just saying we're more at fault than the white people who constructed this system and the white people who can.
So we have all this opinion on white people this, white people that. It's become the new national pastime of white people this and white people that. Don't agree with it, but I fully support their ability. Jamel Hill, Tiffany Cross, all of them, Eli Mistal, all of them. I fully respect and back their constitutional right to say how they feel. Let's have the discussion. In fact, I'd love to have the discussion. In fact, Tiffany, invite Officer Tatum on, one of my dudes. Invite Bryson. Well, he probably wouldn't be able to do it without cussing. I was going to say invite Bryson Gray on. Don't do that. I love you, B. I love you, B. Just not for that platform. Maybe like after hours, like online or something like that. Invite people on you don't agree with, and like we used to do, have a discussion. And even crazier than that, at the end, dap up and be like, we don't agree, but I have no beef with you. So why is Ye not allowed to say something? I don't agree. What he was talking about, this Jewish media and all that. He hasn't backed up his argument for me to agree. And I don't agree with Tiffany Cross, but it's okay for Tiffany Cross to do that, but it's not okay for Ye. You need to look and see who's controlling this. Why is that the case? If you want to talk, let's have the discussion. My problem with Ye, it stems from this. This is the video I did with Cynthia on Cynthia G. I don't know what she's talking about here.
with it. And this is why I say in the Black community, we have very disingenuous, very dishonest discussion.
I don't even know what the Black community is. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. What is the Black? Is there a club? Can I get in? What's the secret password? Like, what do I have to say to get into the Black community? Beyonce's great, or like what are there certain things that get my Black card taken away? Can I get in with a MAGA shirt? What if it's just cool MAGA, not ultra MAGA? Can I get into it? How do I get into the Black? Like, where's the Black community? Like, can I get a plane ticket to it? Like, how do I see it? Is it like Black Twitter? It's just like there and you just fall into it accidentally? If I get into the Black community, does the security kick me out? Like, how does it happen? Like, what are the boundaries of the Black community? Is Steph Curry in the Black community? I'm always making fun of I always pick on that, brother. I'm always making fun of Steph Curry, but friend of the show, thanks for stopping by. Katie Maria says Candace Owens versus Tiffany Cross. Let's do it. And I obviously align more with Candace Owens, but if there's a good point, I like Tiffany. I've talked about her before. I think she's the best TV on-air personality there, and she should have the primetime slots, in my opinion. But if she makes great points, then I would agree with her. How dope would that be? I mean, you guys could even do pay-per-view. I mean, seriously, I think people would pay for it. I think people would pay to see just an intellectual debate between Candace Owens and Tiffany Cross. I think it would be awesome. And Tiffany Cross has some zingers, man. She could trash talk. She is not to be played with on that aspect. So she would be a tough one. Very bright. Why don't we do that anymore? That's all I'm asking. Is that unfair to ask? It's not about agreeing with anybody or anything like that. That's the problem I have with the response. You heard the problem I had with Ye. Bringing up Jewish this and Jewish that. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. You're not explaining yourself to me. If you were to take that out of what Ye's talking about, he would be golden right now. So I think it's kind of like he's rebellious, and he knows that also will help him get attention, but it'll also cloud the argument. They're going after Ye in the similar fashion they went after Alex Jones, but there is extra motivation here. It doesn't matter if I view what I view of this black or white identity. They tell you what they view of it.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do.
Nah, Charlamagne, it's too late. So yeah, you're gonna get tired of me playing that clip. I mean, that clip is gonna be played probably forever. It's an attack on men in general. So it's the emasculation of our society. And you got to think about that. If you want to get to the youth, you got to get through the men, you got to get through the women, then you get to the youth. But it's an attack on men, and Joe Biden defining what being black is as well. They hate because they have control of this black identity. They hate when someone who could be looked at or has influence with these people who identify as black leaves their control, because now everybody looks like, wait a second, I don't have to be here. So they really go hard after them just to make sure you ran off the plantation, but get. So everybody on the plantation sees that's what happens when you run off. People like Nicole Hannah-Jones, they help reaffirm this position. Here's how this brainlet talked about this a while back. She said, this is Nicole Hannah-Jones of the 1619 Project, there is a difference between being politically black and being racially black. I'm not defending anyone, but we all know this and should stop pretending that we don't. And somebody authentically asked, what does this mean? It's just funny. It looks like she's just lost, like a lost child. Like I am too. I'm with Kelsey. Like, Nicole, what are you talking about? Let me read it again because I think I stumbled through it. Nicole Hannah-Jones said there is a difference between being politically black and being racially black. There's a difference between being politically black and racially black. I'm not defending anyone, but we all know this and should stop pretending that we don't. Kelsey's like, what does this mean? She's like, am I the only one And later on, you'll see she says, no, I'm not the only one asking this. It's an authentic question. I don't know what the hell you mean. So Nicole responds, because there's no good response for that. She says, if you, just like a kid at the playground in like second grade, if you don't know, it ain't for you. Oh, okay. So that's what I knew there was a secret password. So if you don't know, you're not in. That's literally what she's saying. Kelsey's like, I'm not the only one that asks. I'm also a black person, I think. Now Kelsey's like, I don't know. Am I in or not? Like, if I don't get in, am I racially black or am I politically black? And then Nicole Hannah-Jones just melts down and is like, yes, I'm capable of seeing your avatar. Okay. And I will repeat, if you don't understand the difference between being born, designated a certain race, and taking up a particular set of racial politics, I'm not going to educate you here. Okay, whatever. We see the attack on black men also in entertainment. The new Black Panther movie, Wakanda Forever, I replied to this like, hey, this is the poster for it. There's no prominent good man in the movie. Like, you have to go down a few characters. Like, you got to let the thing, like the cast scroll a fefew lines before you see a good guy, black character. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. And I was like, it's getting hard to find a good man nowadays, huh? Yeah, it pretty much is. So this whole thing, it just keeps going and going. So I said, I don't believe this nonsense they do, or I have to always reiterate that because they drag you into this conversation. But Kanye's fallen into this trap. I think it's partly because his father was a Black Panther.
And the vernacular that we're supposed to have. My dad grew up as a military brat. And his family moved around, but they were based mostly in Delaware. And at the time, if they weren't the only black family, they were one of the few. And he would be discriminated against because he was black. So by the time he got into college, he would be discriminated against. He went to a black college, he would be discriminated against because they said he talked too white.
Yes.
And then he played the kick drum in the band. So when he would go to the club and the music was playing, where would he clap his hands? Where the kick drum is.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite of where everyone else was clapping their hands. And this is the most elegant and tasteful person that I know. And when my mom, when the school suggested like the herding systems, because what they do is take the black community and they separate us, and they separate the families, and the educated, they push this, need for higher education, and us as blacks, we discriminate against each other and say, well, I got my PhD and you don't have your PhD, so I'm better than you. And
so that's the gist of it, just to give you an idea. I thought that was the clip where he talked about his dad being, I believe, in the Black Panthers, but that's, my point is he's getting it from his, upbringing. Nothing against him, but this is why he's gotten into this black community. My parents are Jamaican. They never came here to America and said, oh, we're in this black community, so I have a different perspective. Nobody's right or wrong. He's entitled to his, I'm entitled to mine. But I think that's the pitfall. There's a strength and weakness to every opinion and every perspective. The weakness is he defines himself as being black, identifies as black, whatever that means to him. He's in some type of community, so then he puts other people into their communities. There's this Jewish community that operates. It's not everybody, as he said, but then why do you keep talking about it like it is everybody? So he that's his mentality. When you go down the identitarian route, and there's many people on the right, I believe I've heard everyone from Trump to Bannon to Brandon Strzok to a lot of people talk about black community that I would agree with them on a lot of stuff, even maybe the Hoteps, but I don't agree with that concept because it has to lead you down this road. You can't, how could you just say black people in a community and nobody else is? And in fact, he feels like he has to be in the community because other people are in the community, I believe. It's funny, he was telling that story, I digress for a second, about his dad playing the kick drum. So he's talking about 4/4 time signature. I used to play music back in the day, and I'm into hip hop. I used to play violin, viola, piano. 4/4 time is like the basic time signature. And when you clap your hands to a song, you clap on the second and fourth beat. He's talking about the kick that comes on the 1 and the 3. So he's saying that his dad used to clap on the 1 and 3, which some songs it feels natural to, but it lets it swing more if you clap on the 2 and the 4. I actually have a video on that in the channel. If you search clap, just search the word clap. It's actually, I like that video. But that's insight to how Kanye thinks. Going on more to give more insight. To me, Ye is doing what a man does. And I'm not saying that a woman doesn't do this. I just want to speak as a man. It's not to, sometimes I'll say that and I'm worried people will think, oh, a woman doesn't do that. That's not, I'm just focusing on what a man does. Maybe both genders do. I'm not a woman. So I'm not Dylan or whatever his name is. I'm not a woman. I'm not cosplaying. I'm not trying to do that. Here's what a man does. 2020, he supported Floyd's daughter. And I see no reason. I haven't heard him say anything that goes against that support that he did for her in 2020. Ye still believes in the black community, though. So what he's doing is stepping up and saying, I've got more information. I've got to take on George Floyd that's beyond the police. And I think it's important. That's basically my interpretation of what he's doing with bringing up Floyd and how Floyd could have died of other causes. The mistake he made was, I think he definitively said, I'm just guessing because I don't have the clips here, that Floyd died of a certain way. And my case, I have always had the same take. I looked at the coroner's report and the trial. We have no idea. I feel very confident in saying nobody knows how he died or why he died. Nobody knows if, it was the knee on the shoulder, or because it didn't really look like it was on the neck if you look at a certain angle. But wherever it was, knee on him, knee on Floyd, versus drugs, versus heart problems, versus he had that thing in him, that CCP issue, pandemic in him. Nobody knows, was it 50% the knee or 25% or 0% or 1%? I say, Derek Chauvin, if Derek Chauvin wanted to unlive George Floyd, I don't think he could have. George Floyd was like 6'7" and dude was ripped. Derek Chauvin, some little dude. And wasn't doing like some type of like martial arts move on the dude. Derek Chauvin, in my opinion, not saying anything definitively, in my opinion, Derek Chauvin couldn't have unlived George Floyd if he wanted to. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's beyond reasonable doubt. I don't know what happened. We have to be comfortable saying that. So Ye or anybody else say, well, he died of this drug or whatever. We don't know that. Nobody knows that. But God, we don't know. So we have to be comfortable. Another example before I go into Steve Bannon here in a second, I'll tell you why. In his identitarianism, Tucker asked him about this this picture he had on here that supports pro-life. Why do you have it?
And there's a photograph on it. What is that?
It's a photograph of a baby's ultrasound.
Why is that? And that you designed that?
Yes.
Why? What does that mean?
It just represents life and pro-life.
Boy, so you wear it on a badge. What kind of response do you get? And good, amen. I agree.
I don't care about people's responses. I care about the fact that there's more black babies being aborted than born in New York City at this point. That 50% of black death in America is abortion. So I really don't care about people's responses. I perform for an audience of one, and that's God.
So his response led with black babies, black people. Why? So he's in the same trap as everyone else. Yeah, I don't want to see, however you label somebody as black, I don't care what their ethnicity is. He says, I play for an audience of one. God, he could have left it like that. Now, I'm not going to tell him how to answer, but I'm saying that's the pitfall that takes you to Jewish media. If you believe, oh, it's these black babies, it's 50% black, and I actually don't have a problem doing the demographics and looking at that, but if that's what you lead with, for me, it's just babies. But I understand that's not the norm. But that's what happens. It leads you down the path for this group did this, that group did that, this stereotype, and you eat watermelon and fried chicken, and you do this. Well, it's not everybody that eats watermelon and fried chicken, but it just goes down. It has to go down that route. Where else does it go? That's my problem. So why would I bring in Steve Bannon to this? It's the same ideology that makes people say Steve Bannon is racist. Kanye West is analyzing the situation, like I said. He believes this helps the community he's in to say, wait, there's something here outside of police that we got to talk about. And that Black Lives Matter Global Network is obviously a fraud at this point, allegedly. I just have to keep saying that because you know how things are. The block is hot right now. There are other lessons we can learn beside policing. And they're the same people who attack Kanye West are the same people who call Steve Bannon racist because they don't even know Steve Bannon. You can talk to them. They never listened to him, never followed him, just regurgitating what somebody else said. So when Steve Bannon has the most populist, most heartfelt, the solid take on George Floyd way before Kanye West did, they don't listen to it because they're, in my opinion, enslaved.
And I had one of those moments that blew me away. He has the best take I have heard anyone have on George Floyd.
I mean, let's go to Mr. Floyd and I say this all the time about George Floyd, and I don't want to talk about the crime that was committed against him. That's a different topic. But I'll say, let's look at his life, right? When he died, he had CCP virus, he had COVID-19, he was on fentanyl and opioids, right? And he didn't have a great job because all the manufacturing jobs shipped overseas. Think of what George Floyd's life would have been if we had a manufacturing base. He would be a supervisor or a foreman at a factory or a junior management. He'd be closing up opening up his summer home to go fishing up in the lake country of Minnesota with his second home up there, a little cabin he could share. If he didn't have the opioids that shipped in by the Chinese Communist Party through the cartels in Mexico across open borders with everybody making money on the way up and the huge profits in that to poison him and no opportunity for a job. And to top it all off, the Chinese Communist Party virus that the elites and the scientific priesthood has basically helped fund and helped do. He had the CCP COVID-19 virus in him. He had the virus in him. He had fentanyl in him. He didn't have access to a great job because all the great manufacturing jobs are shipped off. Look, that's the Greek tragedy to me of George Floyd, is that he was in that position that day. And by the way, let's talk about the fake 20. Well, that's also the CCP, and we know that these foreign entities are putting out this fake money all the time with the opioids to do it. That was what the counterfeit bill was.
That had me thinking, what part of the movie is this where Steve Bannon, the guy who was portrayed as the Grim Reaper on Saturday Night Live, is the one that has the best, most heartfelt, most emotional, most populist take away from the George Floyd death? I didn't choke up, but I felt something when he said that.
I always, every time I watch that clip, it's from the great show, obviously gave credit there, Timcast IRL. I every time I feel something when I see that clip. That's the populist take, y'all. Left or right. That's why I rock MAGA. For me, it doesn't even mean populist right. That's the populist take from George Floyd. That is it right there. That's the definitive populist take. You can throw police in there if you want. The police were clowns, even though I believe they were not guilty when you look at everything. But that's the take. That's the big takeaway, not the policing. So they actually use Floyd and these attacks on Ye to avoid that conversation. And that's what happens with identity. That's a take from a man being a man. That's a take from somebody who I think actually cares about the situation, not walking around like a zombie. You can say what you want, but like I said, he's putting his career on the line for it. Kanye West saw the Candace Owens documentary and kind of woke up. That's where woke originally came from. And a lot of that information, most of it was already known, but when you put it together in a good packaging and you do good marketing, that's great. You reach more people. That's why I fully support it, and I subscribe to Daily Wire Plus. And when Kanye unpacks it, the same community that he purports himself to belong to, they go after him. And then when he says stuff like this, he makes I don't want to say mistakes. He says stuff that to me are unfounded or you can call them isms, whatever, either insensitive.
Did not air.
This is what people respond with.
I was biting my tongue on my political opinion because I thought it would be better for my children. And now you look up and my kids are going to a school that teaches black kids a complicated Kwanzaa. I prefer my kids knew Hanukkah than Kwanzaa. At least it will come with some financial engineering.
So that clip was cut from the Tucker interview, allegedly, reportedly from TYT. I did not know that. And it's just, it's the fried chicken. To me, that's the same thing as the same black people like, I like them going over a black person's house. Maybe they'll eat some good fried chicken. Same type of ignorance, type of thing. What does Hanukkah have to do with, what is he talking about here? He doesn't tie it in. He just has that stereotype in him.
This will come with some financial engineering.
Hanukkah will come with some financial engineering. What the hell are you talking about? I don't even understand. I give you I fully support your right to flesh out your thought. I'll give you the floor. Explain it to me. But here's the response from people who are disingenuous.
You just watched a portion of Kanye West's interview with Tucker Carlson that never aired, that Fox News decided to edit out of the final product, and somehow Motherboard over at Vice News was able to obtain that footage along with a lot more footage that we're about to show you. But before we get to that stuff, I'm just gonna go to you immediately, Waz. Like, what is going on?
Kanye is off his meds. There's no other way to put it, right?
Do other people struggling with bipolar disorder immediately say insane?
You see the BS route they go down? I think it's fine to laugh. I have no problem laughing at him or anything like that. But at some point, he said a lot of things over the past. I still haven't unpacked the whole Tucker interview. And much less, I did listen to the drink champs. I knew something might be going down, and I downloaded it. I was like, this ain't gonna last, because before the drink champs, remember, he did the thing with LeBron. LeBron wasn't there, but it was LeBron's TV show, The Shop, which is actually a really good show. Just people at the barbershop, fancy barbershop, they're drinking wine. I never drank wine at a barbershop before, but they're at the barbershop getting their hair cut and just shooting the breeze. They're trying to make it authentic. It's still a good show, but it's a little, little corporate. But they pulled it. They didn't even show the footage from that one. So I knew that this was going to be a problem. Anything he does. The Cuomo one, I saw the Cuomo one. I downloaded that just in case. It's just so much to unpack. So my point is, he's saying all this stuff, and they do a whole video just on, he's crazy and bipolar, which is fair to bring up. But what about the other stuff? What about some of the other things he's saying? They ignore that. I'm going to actually end on what I think is a happy note. Then I'll take a look at any comments. This was just a pop-up live. I did this blog. This is on middlemaga.com. If you want the links, go to middlemaga.com and go to our blogs, and it's the most recent one. So I'm trying to get better at doing these. It's just like little bullet points. I think I might just do bullet points. I'm not a great writer, so I'll just do bullet points and clips and stuff like that. But I think the end that I have with this is that Kanye West is actually a very brilliant person. And I think there's a lot more good that we can take from this than the bad. Or I don't even want to say bad, of where we don't agree. Because good or bad is it's literally simply just an opinion. Obviously, nothing more. So I'm going to end on that as a happy note, in my opinion, and to see, hopefully, I wish him the best of success with Parler. I don't know what he's going to do with that. He has imagination that I don't have. For him to even think that he could do something good with Parler. Somebody was joking that Kanye West would reach more people if he went into the middle of the woods with nobody around and started yelling than if he was on Parler, which is kind of funny. So I'm gonna leave it out on that. I fully support First Amendment rights. No, of course, that doesn't mean you guarantee people can end business arrangements. I'm not saying anything that like there can't be consequences to your First Amendment rights, but nobody should be silencing you. And losing a bank account, okay, if you support that, then you could lose a bank account for if I see, if somebody sees you voted for Biden or something stupid. It's just not a slope that anybody wants to go down to. So let me know what you think. I'll just go through some comments here real quick. Let's see. Let's see. Katie Maria says, very good points from Bannon. Just excellent points. And he really broke it down from a heartfelt way. That's not a takeaway from George Floyd. I didn't hear anybody. Didn't hear anybody other than Bannon have that takeaway. Maybe there were. I didn't hear it. Way better than Candace Owens, even. And I agree with Candace Owens on a lot of her takeaways. Candace Owens was more just like angry and attacking Black Lives Matter. And I did the same thing. Attacking it and like, this is a fraud, this is fake, and that kind of stuff. And here's the truth. Bannon broke it down like, forget about all that. Look at this. That's why we say America first. You want to know why there's certain people who identify as black that are no longer hitching their ride to the Democratic Party? That could be a reason. This is off topic, but anybody hear if there's any announcement on that thing, the scheduling for that thing? I'm going to check my Twitter real quick because I thought that was supposed to come down at 1:30 Eastern. So let me double check and see if there's any. Is there any breaking news out here, y'all? I'm just checking right now to see. I am seeing some other stuff, so I'll share my screen. Just go off a little bit. I'm done with other than comments, I'm done with the yay stuff. Thanks, Katie Maria. Let me go ahead and I'm going to share my timeline. So I know that there's no prawn on it. So I take the search filter off of Twitter. So if you search whatever's trending, Elon, you could see prawn, and that's not what we want. So on my timeline, I have no prawn. So I feel confident about that. Carrie Lake says, Arizona will not be forcing that thing into children's arms or filthy muzzles onto their beautiful faces. I love how she always says beautiful faces. Thanks, but no thanks. I don't know if anything broke. Vote Blake and Lake. Absolutely. I support both of them. Hobbs is struggling right now. As she's Secretary of State of Arizona while she's running for governor, and some stuff is happening out there. I'm just going through my timeline, seeing if I got any breaking news. Let's see. We got some more identitarianism. That's for sure here, which is fine. It's not all bad as long as you don't use it as a weapon. It's not. I don't mind. Let's see here. Treat the whole of I'm not sure what's going on there. I am not seeing any breaking news as of yet. Why are muzzles is somebody muzzling again? Why are muzzles in the news so much? Because most of the muzzles that people are wearing, okay, they have an opinion on that. I don't know what that is. It looks like Ethan Klein was getting into some stuff here. Talking about, it looks like they're trying to highlight, whoa, what in the world? When was that from? Can I even play that? Whoa, I don't know. So Ethan Klein, if you want to know, Ethan Klein got into some stuff. I don't even know if I can even play what he got into. I don't know if that's old or what. It's probably old. I don't know. I never saw that. It's kind of on the topic of Ye, though. Oh, wow. Breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. John Fetterman doesn't speak at event with Biden in PA. Let's take a look at this article real quick. I'm going to be out in 10 minutes. Got it. I'm actually going to be going to the gym. Let's see here. Let's take a look at this. Breaking news, Fetterman doesn't speak as Biden stumps for him in PA. So when I got the news that Biden was going to stump for him, I was like, Fetterman's campaign's actually doing a very good job. They made him come across as if he were a abandoned puppy. So that something to be coddled and loved and felt sorry for. So Oz has to back off, and I was like, Oz, I don't really care who wins. I don't know. I don't like Oz, but I was like, my advice for Oz would be to back off of the health stuff. Tucker's talking about it, other people are talking about it. You don't need to get into the health stuff because he's looking like a wounded puppy, and you're coming in almost like you got to put your foot on him. Don't do that. Talk about issues. Let other people do the health stuff. You've got plenty of people who are not in politics and whatever who are getting the word out about his health. Don't let it be you. If they do debate on the 25th, I believe it's when it's scheduled. If they do debate, Oz, I don't want to hear you talk about his health. Don't talk about his thinking box. Let that conversation happen with other people. Focus on the issues. You already are not likable. Don't make yourself more unlikable. But back to this, Fetterman doesn't speak. John, thank you very much for running. I really do appreciate it. And Giselle, I always say Giselle. Giselle, you're going to be great. A great lady in the Senate, Biden told the Fettermans. So let's see. During the speech in Pennsylvania regarding infrastructure programs, President Joe Biden, I'm just reading this for the first time right now, touted Democrat Senate candidate John Fetterman and his wife. John, thank you very much for running, like I said there. And, oh, wow, he had a suit on. He was met by Senate candidate John Fetterman wearing a suit with long pants today. Okay, bro. Okay, get that suit tailored, though. It's a little, or maybe it is tailored to handle the protrusion, at least the shirt. Many Twitter users question why Fetterman didn't speak at the event. Why didn't he speak? So it looks like it's not as much of a step away from him as I don't know if he can speak kind of thing. Looks like Biden concluded his remarks. Did Fetterman not speak? That is unusual. So Biden's there to stump for Fetterman. Fetterman's there in a suit and tie, and he doesn't speak. But it's, at this point, the thinking box for Fetterman, it's no different to me, at least for my opinion. It's no different to me than if he had some type of whoever's really funding him, if he had a spokesperson standing next to him, whispering in his ears what to say. So go ahead, go up on the podium, speak, get a communications person and have them say, and then have him talk, and then it's not much different. It's not different to me, at least. Greg Price has been going hard at Fetterman. Greg Price, also, he's been on, Tim's had everybody on his show. He's also been on Timcast. John Fetterman is in such bad shape that they didn't even let him speak at the event with noted dementia patient Joe Biden. That is Greg Price's opinion, and I happen to agree with it. Yikes. That seems to be the gist of that story. It's worse than not speaking to kind of step away. It was like not speaking to, like, are you ready to speak? How could you not speak? I don't know. You're the one running. So now you're back on my timeline. Got libertarians doing their thing on the timeline. I thought there was going to be breaking news. Okay, breaking news. The Pentagon just announced it is going to pay for service members to travel for unliving fetuses. Okay. Nothing new there. I mean, just kind of immune to some of this news at this point. Let's see here. Within 3 points. Okay. We're talking about midterms. I don't want to show that because that looks like violence. So the timeline might not have prawn, but it could have violence from people just posting it. What is this? Mark Kelly. Whoa, let's look at this. Mark Kelly. Carrie Lake is, man, she is always breaking news, and she is really a good follow. Forget about her, even her campaign. I asked Senator Mark Kelly about his decision to not campaign with Katie Hobbs. Okay. Distancing. See, politics gets a little awkward when it's like you're supposed to be on the same team for whatever reason. And now it's like, I want you to stay away from me. So let's hear what Mark Kelly had to say when someone caught up to him in these streets.
But when you look at the GOP side, those folks, they're all campaigning with one another. Blake Masters, Carrie Lake, and down ballot candidates are holding.
Yeah, they're all campaigning with each other because they're all independent thinkers. They don't all agree on everything. Don't make that mistake. You know, I know that for sure. I've kind of cozied up with the MAGA name, kind of branding it to my own thing. It's not one MAGA person that I have never had one MAGA person call me out my name or attack me because I'm for universal basic income. You know why? Because I can respect if they disagree. I articulate my point. I hear their point. It's all love at the end, and I don't demonize them. And they're like, okay. You can't do that on that side. So they're like, wait a second, y'all campaign together?
When you look at the GOP side, those folks, they're all campaigning with one another. Blake Masters, Carrie Lake, and down ballot candidates are holding campaign rallies together. Compare that to the Democratic side. Katie Hobbs and Mark Kelly, you aren't going to see them on the campaign trail together. I had the chance to talk with Mark Kelly yesterday down in Casa Grande, and I asked him about that decision to not campaign.
You want to know why? Because they're not real people. That's why. If they were real people, and this is more on Katie Hobbs, but both of them, if they were real people, they could campaign together and not agree on everything. They're just not real people. They're just corporate entities.
Along the gubernatorial candidate within his party. Take a listen.
Is there more that you could do? Because the Republicans are campaigning. Just last night, Blake Masters was there with Carrie Lake.
We each make our own decisions about how to run our campaign. I have a campaign that's built to win. Katie Hobbs is...
I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I hate laughing into the mic, man. But this is the first time I'm just doing this on the fly until, what time is it? 1? Let me get I'm going to be out after this. But I'm laughing because Mark Kelly's like, my campaign's here to win. My campaign's built to win. You know, the implication is, we'll see what he says after that. His mind is like, ooh, I got to clean that up. The implication is like, I don't know what Hobbs is doing. I debated, I don't know what Hobbs is doing, but I'm here to win. My campaign's trying to win. That's why I'm not with her.
And I asked him about that decision to not campaign along the gubernatorial candidate within his party. Take a listen.
Is there more that you could do? Because the Republicans are campaigning. Just last night, Blake Masters was there with Carrie Lake.
We each make our own decisions about how to run our campaign. I have a campaign that's built to win. Katie Hobbs is a much superior choice to be our next governor over Carrie Lake.
Yeah, the brain freeze. He was like, my campaign's built to win. Katie Hobbs. And then his brain's like, what do I say about Katie Hobbs? Katie Hobbs, and she's a feckless person running away with her door locked, trying to get into a car running from questions with a AR-15.
Katie Hobbs is
running away from questions for Project Veritas, and she's not debating Carrie Lake, and she's going to get wrecked, and I don't want any part of her. That's what his brain froze there for. Like, I don't want to say that, so what should I say?
Is a much superior choice to be our next governor over Carrie Lake, who is peddling in a conspiracy. This is dangerous to our democracy. Both Carrie Lake is doing it, Blake Masters is doing it. What I suggest they do is just run a better campaign.
And that's when you're talking about Mark Kelly here, who has run as very much of an independent voice when he won in 2020 his U.S. Senate bid. But now you're seeing that play out here again. The polls for each of these races is very close, Alex. We're looking at a very competitive 19 days.
That Carrie Lake race better not be close. Or Arizona, you're going to have to holler at me what's going on in the water out there. You're going to have to holler. If that race is close, I'm going to need AZ Patriot. Haven't chatted with her in a minute. But I'm going to need somebody to explain to me what's happening out there. Mr. Tatum, what's happening out there? So I'm about to be outie, get a little bit of workout in, got a little bit more work to do for the day. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. Good time. And I will let everyone know. I will let everybody know if I'm going to do a live for the Fetterman debate, which I don't think is going to happen. He didn't speak when Biden was there. How is he going to debate Oz? Other than sitting there looking like a wounded puppy, like, please don't hurt me. Which might be a good strategy, actually. Because I think people will rally around him for that, believe it or not. So I'll let you know about that, let you know about the election. Might have to request that. I'm going to request the 9th off. I don't need the 8th off. I need the 9th off so we can go late into the night. I haven't done a late night in a while because you can tell, if you look at the video, you can tell I'm like sleepy. So I'm about to be out. Let's get this in. Eric July always like, did you get your workout in today? Let's get it. Take care.